Guys, welcome back to round 3 of the AFL for our tipping. I did a recap video last night, so you can go over and check that one if you want to. What I thought about the round. Another interesting round. We're still only 2 rounds into the AFL season. Always the hardest rounds to pick. We don't have much information on the teams. I really don't settle in until the 4th round. But a quick update on what's happening between myself and Flash. So Flash Crow has a margin of 36, has a total of 9 points, 9 tips correct. I have a bigger margin of 58 and a total of 10 points. So let's have a look at round 3. Another very interesting game. There's a lot of really close matches that have a little bit of history behind them. So we've got Hawthorn against North Melbourne. We've got the apprentice up against the coach. A couple of teams that are under the pump, and a couple of teams that are absolutely flying. I said in my recap video that I've nearly narrowed down at least 6 teams that are playing at a different tier. But anyway, as we do every week, please like and subscribe, not only to my channel, make sure you go over to Flash Crow's channel, like and subscribe there. He's busy doing other gaming stuff at the moment, making other videos. So I take his tips each week and then I'll do the video for us. So let's go to the Thursday night. So we've got my team, the Lions, up against the Bulldogs. Bulldogs are under the pump. Bevo's under the pump. The whole team's under the pump. Lions hit back after getting flogged in the first round by Port. Hit back against Melbourne, who I still think are the favourite team. But Gawn's going to be a massive out for Melbourne for the next couple of weeks. But anyway, let's see how we go on the Thursday. If the Lions played like they did against Melbourne, I don't think Bulldogs have much of a shot. But beware a wounded dog. So I have to go the Lions here, just based on form. So I'm going to go 20, 24. Let's go 23. 23 is a pretty popular number for margins. So Lions to beat the Bulldogs by 23. But it should be an interesting game. It's at the Bulldogs, and we'll see how the Lions travel this week. Then we'll go to the Friday, another massive game between Collingwood and Richmond. Collingwood are absolutely flying at the moment. They're playing a brand of football that is pretty well untouchable at the moment. I've got a feeling that Damo might have been watching what's been happening at Collingwood, particularly with the Dacosses. They're just charging into the middle to add an extra midfielder during the clearances. So if I was Richmond coach, I'd be putting Shea Bolton on which one is it? Is it Nick Dacos or is it the other? I don't know which one. Whichever one's going really well at the moment, I'd be putting Shea Bolton on him, and I would be saying, you stay 2 meters behind him until we win the ball, and then you turn and run as fast as you can, and start making him be a bit more accountable in defence. But Collingwood are up and flying. I'm going to have to go Collingwood in this one. Richmond's still got a good team, and this is at the MCG. Big night at the MCG. Richmond could fire up. If they could work out what's going on with the Dacosses and put a bit of pressure on, it's not going to be an easy game for Collingwood. But you've got to go with form. Collingwood, like I said, are playing a great brand of football. So let's go Collingwood there. Then we go down to Tassie. All right, so both of these teams play in Tasmania. So Hawks, you couldn't pick in a Blue Mile. North Melbourne have already matched what they did last year with 2 wins. So very tight game. Again, we've got Mitchell and then we've got Clarko against each other. They don't like each other. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. I would have automatically picked North Melbourne until I saw the last 5 minutes of their game, where they gave up 26 points or something. So I'm actually going to go Hawthorn here because I still like Hawthorn. There's no team that's going to not win a game during the season. So I think this is Hawthorn's best opportunity to win a game. So I don't know how many years it's been since a team's been winless through the whole season. So teams generally win at least 2 games. Hawks like Tasmania, they like the cold. And I just think the form that they had in the first game against Collingwood in the practice game might be enough. So I'm actually going to pick Hawthorn here. I know I shouldn't, but you've got to give them a chance. So then we go to Carlton and Giants. So Giants had a really gutsy win on their first round, but the second round was really quite bad against West Coast. So I think this is quite an easy pick. So I'm going to go Carlton here. Carlton are playing well. I've got them in my top 6. So Carlton to beat the Giants, even though it's at Giants Stadium. But you never know in this game. You know, sometimes teams don't show up, particularly when they travel. But Carlton. St Kilda, Essendon, another great game. Who would have thought that these two teams would be undefeated at the start of the year? I think even Essendon's on top. St Kilda and Essendon second and third on the ladder. So really tough game. St Kilda are playing really well. Essendon are playing really well. I like what Brad Scott's done with Essendon. Put the players that they know can play in certain positions back into their positions. They seem to be a little bit defensive, more defensive than what they have been. I love the fact that they drop Stringer and make him earn his position. I can't see Tippy coming back for a little while until he loses about 35 kilograms. But I'm going to go St Kilda. St Kilda are playing a really good brand of football. They remind me a little bit about the Swans. They're just chasing hard. They're only a little team, and they've still got some problems with their attacking, but they swarm the ball. They've got a good attitude. They're coached by a great coach. So I'm going to go St Kilda here, just because of the effort factor that they've been putting in for the first 2 rounds. But I would have never predicted this in the couple of weeks ago. Then we go over to Adelaide Oval for the local match between these two rivals. Should be an absolutely amazing game. I don't think the difference between 89% and 11% is a true indication about these two teams. Port absolutely thumped Brisbane in the first game and then got thumped the next round. Adelaide have put up 2 strong performances. So I think it's going to be closer than what people expect. This game is always a tight game between these two clubs, two proud clubs, particularly in Adelaide. But I think Port just have a little bit more skill. Adelaide had an absolutely blinding third quarter on the weekend, and they looked absolutely fantastic. If they could do that for 3/4 of the game, well, they'll win by 100 points. But Port can also have that ability. I just think in the big games, I think you need to rely on a bit more talent. The Dersmars, the Dixon, Powell Pepper played, even though they lost badly, he played really well. So I'm going to go Port in this one. All right, so next game, Suns against Geelong. I'm not even going to talk about this game. Suns were very disappointing. Apart from Rao and Took, the rest of the team didn't hold their hands up. Cats are going to bounce back. We know how good they are. So we're going to go Cats there. Suns are looking like they're going to be bottom 4 for this year again. All right, now another amazing game. We've got Melbourne and we've got the Sydney Swans. It's at the MCG. I know that the Swans are used to the smaller ground at the SCG, but I really like the way that the Swans are travelling at the moment. Now, unfortunately, Melbourne lost Gawn on the weekend, which is a massive loss. It really exposed them. But we saw what happened after the lights came out. They came flying home, and I don't know how many they kicked in 5 minutes or something, except 20 points or something in 5 minutes. But I can see the Swans getting over Melbourne just because of the Gawn factor. I don't think Grundy has the the stamina at the moment. I think playing as a full 100 minutes of ruck might take it out of him. And Hickey's younger man, plays well, and I just like the way that the Swans swarm. So I can see the Swans knocking off Melbourne in this one. And then we go over to the Derby. Another great game. Fremantle under the pump. West Coast had their best game they've had in 3 years. They looked really good. I love the run that they were getting out of the back line with, what was his name? I can't even remember his name. I don't even know who they are. Rogers or... Anyway, I only watched the game briefly. So, but anyway, Fremantle are under the pump. West Coast are playing well. It's a big game for the state. I I I want to go to the West Coast Eagles because I want to see these players get back. I want to see the Kellys and the Gaffs and everything play really well. Liam Ryan played well on the weekend. But Fremantle are too good a team to be 0-3. But they have been playing terribly. I got a feeling that Longmuir might just turn around and say, forget all our game plan, just go and play on and kick the ball. So I'm actually going to go Fremantle in this game. So there we are. So they're my tips for round 3. As this video is playing, I'll put down Flashcrow's tips as well. We'll have a quick look at the ladder. Sydney on top with a massive margin, a massive percentage, about 290,000. St Kilda Essendon, I can't see St Kilda Essendon staying in the 8 after round 5. Richmond is a bit under the pump. North Melbourne's not going to stay in there. So I've got the top 6 teams. There's Melbourne, Carlton, Collingwood, Sydney, Geelong, and the Lions. I can see Fremantle missing the 8, particularly if they drop this week. And it's going to be interesting to see who are the last 2 teams there. Maybe Richmond, maybe Port Adelaide if they can get themselves going. Well, there we are, guys. I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked my tips. Make sure that you like and subscribe. And we will see what happens this weekend. And we'll catch you in the recap after the weekend. See you then.